York City Mayor Eric Adams really and truly wanted to make an impact on things, what he would probably do is endorse Trump.
And I've heard people say that the former president should not be able to have a rally in Madison Square Garden. I strongly disagree. This is America. This is New York. Real problems we're having. And with all that's going on to everyday New Yorkers, we're asking questions that is someone a fascist or is someone a Hitler. That's insulting to me. That is insulting. And I'm not going to engage in that.
Guys, before we get started, before we really dive into this, I want you to know something right now, that this video right here is not so much about what it is that Eric Adams has been indicted for. It's not even really and truly about the migrant crisis, which still looms over the city of New York, which still looms over America at large, especially Chicago, because they're the ones that I think have been getting hit the worst. And of course, also Denver, Colorado, and all the other areas that, quite frankly, ask for migrant sanctuary cities. This video right here is more about, let's just say, somebody waking up and realizing that maybe, just maybe, I'm getting sick and tired of the nonsense because my eyes are officially open and I have now dealt with or had to personally experience what is actually going on with our current federal government. And that right there mostly being the Department of Justice. Of course, we know that former President Trump has been indicted several times. Most of these indictments, quite frankly, were just BS. But then again, at the same time, I say most of them were BS because, let's be honest, it feels like extra charges being added on to what is already a BS charge. So it's really and truly kind of hard to clean this entire situation of all the BS without leaving some BS behind. That's just how bad it is. I know that maybe the way I explained things just now probably didn't make a whole lot of sense, but of course, you guys know me. I love to do these things off script. So the other day, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, I apologize for the jump cuts. There was an error in editing. He was asked about Trump being a fascist, and of course, the rhetoric has gotten out of control, and the New York City mayor is not exactly feeling what the media is pitching. He's basically saying to these people, maybe you should stop calling him a fascist because, as I will detail over the course of this video here, it's getting to the point to where it's quite numbing and nobody really cares.
You know, I have been, had those terms hurled at me by some political leaders in the city, using terms like Hitler and fascist. My answer is no. I know what Hitler has done, and I know what a fascist regime looks like. I think, as I've called over and over again, that the level of conversation, I think we could all dial down the temperature. And I've heard people say that the former president should not be able to have a rally in Madison Square Garden. I strongly disagree. This is America. This is New York. And I think it's important that we allow individuals to exercise their right to get their message clear to New Yorkers. And our job as a city and as a police department is to make sure they can do that in a peaceful way. I think that we must be extremely cautious. The heat we turn up today, pre-election, is going to have to be the heat we're going to have to govern in. And I think we need to show a level of respectable communication. And so when people called me fascist and other terminologies, I didn't like it. And I don't think it's fitting to anyone to state that the former president is
It doesn't help. It doesn't help things at all. As I've been saying for a while, constantly calling your opponent a fascist, especially given the fact that said opponent has already been president once before, doesn't work. It just doesn't. Most people already remember the reality of the Trump administration. They remember how it was that the economy was so much better. They also remember us not putting any troops on the ground anywhere. They also remember a foreign policy where if somebody screwed up or if somebody did something out of the way, Trump would normally correct that with like a missile or a Moab. That's really the proper way to conduct foreign policy. If somebody let's just say somebody acts up, shoots at the troops, somebody decides to attack a U.S. target, you respond in kind with like a bomb or something. You don't just put troops on the ground. Putting troops on the ground, quite frankly, is pretty nasty business. I know this because obviously I've been deployed twice to a war zone. I don't hide that. I don't talk about it every single video, but I'm pretty sure you guys get the point, especially if you're a veteran. You know that preparation for war and putting troops on the ground can, quite frankly, be pretty daggone nasty. The American people have gotten tired of this. Now, what does that have to do with Eric Adams' indictment and this bit of him saying that Donald Trump is not a fascist? What it is that it is fatigue. It is fatigue from somebody constantly calling somebody a fascist. You see, we've been dealing with this fascism, Hitler, orange Hitler, Cheeto Hitler. We've been dealing with this crap for the better part of, I would say since 2016. That's when they really and truly started to ramp up the Trumpist fascist rhetoric. They did it in 2016. They did it after he won. They did it the entire time he was in office. Hell, they impeached the guy twice. At the same time, they also then ramped up the rhetoric after he left office. And of course, the rhetoric is 10 times worse now. So I'm pretty sure you guys can kind of sort of see that somebody would probably get a little bit fatigued by it. And I think that someone like Eric Adams, even though there are people out there who are theorizing that he's doing this because he wants a pardon, because he's hedging his bets, that he's probably, he's probably got some nefarious means behind suddenly lightening the mood on Trump, or at least lightening the rhetoric. Then again, though, at the same time, though, I do think that Eric Adams can kind of sort of speak for everybody else when everybody else is looking at the news and they constantly see Trump fascist over and over and over again. Like I said, it gets tiring. It's exhausting. People are tired of hearing it. And if people are tired of hearing it, even including your own side, they'll be less inclined to actually vote. Now, again, I want to stress this. A lot of people believe that New York City Mayor Eric Adams is just simply looking for a pardon. However, even if he is looking for a pardon, I want to say it one more time. I believe that right now he's literally a representation of most moderate libs right now in the country that are sick and tired of stuff going on. The Democrats' voter turnout is actually reflecting this in the battleground states. It's actually quite low. They are way behind their 2020 numbers. I'll link some stuff in the description box for you guys on that, but let's get back to the video. But there is one more thing, too, before I go any further and get to what happened a couple of days ago in the press conference. And that, of course, would be what Trump actually said in Madison Square Garden that night, calling the situation with Eric Adams. He also said the exact same thing during the Al Smith dinner. But let's play this. Let's run it back, and then we'll get to the other half of the video.
Mayor Adams, because Mayor Adams has been treated pretty badly. You know, when he said that this whole thing with the migrants coming into New York, this is just not sustainable. You know, we can't do it. We're trying to run a city. We got 100,000 migrants coming. We can't do it. It just can't do it. It's not feasible. It's not good. He said it very nicely. I said, well, he's going to be indicted by these lunatics. A year later, he got indicted. I think they upgraded his seat in an airplane. That's a very serious charge. They've upgraded my seat a lot, too. I used to fly commercial. I don't fly it so much anymore. But they'd see me back there and, sure, would you like an upgrade? I don't know. Maybe it's something else. But I have to tell you, he's been really great. And he said that they shouldn't be calling Trump a dictator because it's not true. That's nice. That was nice. Very nice. So we want to thank Mayor Adams. He's going through a hard time with these people. These are lunatics, by the way. They've weaponized the Justice Department against their political opponent. I am under investigation more than the great, late Alphonse Capone.
Once again, Trump called it. Trump's been dealing with the Department of Justice like crazy. Ever since the moment he announced that he was running for president, this guy has had the FBI, the DOJ, including rhinos in his own party, bought and paid shills up his behind. Not just the media. It's been insane. Exactly the amount of crap that Donald Trump has had to put up with. And I think that Eric Adams is starting to see that, hey, look, you know, if you speak out against the migrant crisis, if you speak out against the current Democratic Party, they're going to go out of their way to lock you up. They're going to go out of their way to take away anything that you have. I think that right there might be what the hell is going on with Eric Adams. However, at the same time, like I said before, even if it is just for a pardon, It still feels to me like native New Yorkers and maybe people in big cities, especially the ones who are dealing with the migrant crisis, which I will actually speak about tomorrow because very, very interesting exchange between Scott Adams and Jen Younger that I want to discuss. It'll be one of my shorter videos. The fact of the matter is that people are not exactly feeling exactly what the media is saying. But to the press conference. Now, guys, the press conference was over an hour, and Eric Adams got a lot of questions, people asking him if he was doing this because of a pardon, wanting a pardon. And of course, Eric Adams had a response that I thought was quite telling. It was actually a pretty good response to everything that was going on. I'm going to let it play all the way through without no actual interruption, but then the next clip, of course, is going to have some interruption. But let's go ahead and play this.
About these real problems we're having. And with all that's going on to everyday New Yorkers, we're asking questions that is someone a fascist or is someone a Hitler. That's insulting to me. That is insulting. And I'm not going to engage in that. Everyone needs to turn down the rhetoric. Because after Election Day, we still have to be the United States and not the divided states. And so if people can't understand their real issues facing New Yorkers, and I just find it just humiliating that what everyday mom and pops are doing and going through across this country, that here we are having this conversation about this silly item. So I refuse to participate in that. I'm going to fight for New Yorkers like I've done for years, and whomever can understand that, they're not in the streets. When I'm at these town halls, talking to people there, they're not asking me these silly questions. We are in this bubble. And I know you guys really believe these stories you're writing. It gives you a lot of clicks. It's exciting and give you headlines. But this is not what New Yorkers and Americans are dealing with, folks. They are scared of their future. Someone needs to stand up and say, enough of this. Tone down the rhetoric. Let people hear the facts. Let them vote. And let's decide what the next 4 years are going to be for our city. And that's my position. I cannot make it any clearer.
100% exactly. Nobody is thinking about Donald Trump being a fascist. What they're thinking about is Donald Trump. How is he going to make my lives a lot better? Also, to go on top of this, I'm pretty sure we already know Trump's first 4 years in office when he was there, he didn't really do anything fascistic at all. The guy's not a fascist. He never has been a fascist. I mean, I don't see how the hell these people can scream and holler fascism, especially when they're the ones who are trying to currently lock up their political opponents. They're the ones who go out of their way to influence elections. They're the ones who go out of their way to lock up even their own if they speak out against them. It seems to me like the true fascists are, in fact, the Democratic Party, the same banner that Eric Adams ran under when he ran for mayor in 2022. You may see a course correction in the future with a lot more Democrats, so I'm going to obviously take note of this right here and remember it and come back to this video in case something else happens. But that other bit, let's go ahead and get to that.
Sent out a very clear statement about the comments that was made by some of the people who attended the rally. I've been to many rallies. I've protested. I've been part of rallies. I've been part of incidents, and I've witnessed people stand up at podiums and say, I cringe at some of the things that they said. So you can't demonize an entire population based on the actions of those who attend. And so I'm clear.
I could scream communist at my opponent. I could scream at them constantly. Look, what the mayor is saying and about him saying that the people say things at rallies that quite frankly make him cringe. I mean, I feel the exact same way when I hear people from the left run their mouth. But then again, at the same time, I've also heard so much of it to the point to where I'm quite frankly a little bit desensitized by it. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of you people watching this video just had the exact same thought that I had. We're desensitized by it. We're desensitized. We've been completely sanitized. We really, or desanitized, whatever phrase you might want to use. You guys know how I am. I'm actually shocked I haven't been saying by the way a lot more because if you guys know me, I used to say by the way a lot. But the point is this right here. It gets to the point where it's tiring. Give us some actual substance. If you keep screaming fascist at your opponent, after a while, people are just going to tune you out. But this conversation does get better.
But at the same time, let's get it clear. When you, I think, disrespect, 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. I mean, 6 million. And when we downplay and use terminologies that is not associated with the facts, it brings the wrong atmosphere to the city. A city where you have the largest Jewish population outside of Israel, where anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and other hate is increasing. Folks, we got to turn down this noise. I don't know if we're comfortable with what we're seeing in our country. I'm not.
Exactly. I mean, I had to think about this for a second before I responded or before I started talking, but to compare him to Hitler, I think is nonsense. Look, there's a lot of Hitler and a lot of Hitler references here online, and I got to tell people that Adolf Hitler was obviously evil, was obviously bad. But I also remember that there was another dictator by the name of Mao Zedong. There's also another one by the name of Pol Pot who actually wiped out 1/3 of his country. There was also Joseph Stalin, whom, by the way, also killed Jews too, because a lot of Russian Jews died during Stalin's. I wouldn't call it the purges. I would say that it was the Great Famine and the collectivization of farming. What was going on there? It's part of the reason why it is that I've decided to start looking into doing more historical videos on this channel here, but I know how YouTube's algorithm works, so I may have to create a brand new network of channels to do that. And of course, some of that stuff will probably go on Rumble. I'll have a end of the year video for that coming out soon, but of course, this is a small channel, and of course, YouTube oftentimes does not notify you guys of my videos coming out. So it's a wonder to me that people, it's a wonder why they do that. I mean, obviously to suppress the news, but the fact of the matter is this right here. I think it does a disservice to the country when you compare a political candidate, especially the Republican nominee, even the Democrat nominee, to Adolf Hitler. It just does a very, very disservice to a lot of people out there, especially people who survived said events like what Eric Adams mentioned, the Holocaust. What about the Russian Jews who died during the Great Famine, the collectivization of farming, and of course some that died in the purges and some that died during the doctor's plot? I advise you guys definitely look into that one right there, the doctor's plot after Stalin planned another purge shortly after World War II, and he wanted to get rid of Jewish doctors. Kind of odd, especially given how it was that he died, but that's another topic altogether. It does nobody any favors to constantly call your political rival Hitler, especially given the fact that you do have Jewish Americans and you have Americans of other ethnicities who have family members who have survived other atrocities. I just mentioned earlier that there's a video that I'm probably going to be doing a little bit later on this week about Scott Adams' little debate with Cenk Uygur. Cenk Uygur denies the Armenian genocide. I mean, seriously, look at the family members of the victims, the stories that have been passed down. Or how about what I talked to you guys about in previous videos on how it is that you've got a lot of Puerto Ricans, you've got a lot of Panamanians, a lot of people who come from countries that have some left-leaning communist backgrounds, Colombia, Venezuela, family members who left those countries. When they saw the indictments of the former president, guess what they immediately thought? They thought Castro, they thought Che Guevara, they thought all the bad actors that they left. It really and truly is to the point to where it's almost insulting to some of these people. But let's watch this last bit.
Mr. Mayor, I know you said New Yorkers.
I know you said.
I know you said New Yorkers don't care about whether or not Trump's a fascist, but Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign has made a big deal of that, right? Her campaign and her surrogates have very much leaned into the messaging that he's unhinged, that he's a fascist. By saying that he's not a fascist, are you not at all concerned that you're undermining her messaging and indirectly helping Trump with the election just days away? Control Lander has also said that your unwillingness to criticize Trump makes it seem like you're seeking a pardon from him. Are you seeking a pardon from him?
Lando, he's the moral authority of life, you know. Listen, next question.
Are you not going to
Next question. Next
question. This is probably what you're going to be seeing going forward, especially from some mayors and, of course, moderate Democrats, especially moderate Democrats who've had enough of the party and the party's messaging. Or it could be what Scott Halpern said. It could be that a lot of them may say, screw this, I have no connection to this country anymore. How the hell could they have elected Donald Trump? How the hell could they have done this? This is not my country no more. You could see that. And of course, these people will tell themselves every day that Donald Trump is Hitler, meanwhile getting a tax cut and seeing their life getting a lot better. But because these people are so polluted, they will not recognize the fact that their life is, in fact, getting better. Of course, their sanity is not, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Eric Adams, he stood up to the media, and I think he's actually been wanting to stand up to the media for a while. It is possible that he is looking for a pardon. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to deny that, not one bit, but still at the same time, I think that Eric Adams is a representation at this moment in time of every single moderate lib who, quite frankly, is just tired of the noise. And kudos to him for fighting back against the New York media. By the way, I didn't mention this earlier, but look at how the New York Post reported the front page for the rally at Madison Square Garden, and then look at how the New York Daily News reported it. At some point in time, this entire thing is just going to become just a great big giant comedy. And of course, we'll be here to talk about it. With that right there being said, guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, cut the notifications bell on. Please share the video. You guys can follow me on Facebook. Just type in John Claymore. I'll be right there. I may have to create other pages too for other channels, but I'm right there. Also, something else too. Make sure you guys also follow me on Twitter or X. And make sure you guys, like I said once before, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. Tomorrow's videos are probably going to be a little bit shorter. I'm trying to shorten the videos themselves, so that way it's easier for you guys to get to them, get through them, listen to them. Hopefully this video has probably gone a little bit longer than what I originally planned for it to be, but still, I'm trying to do that now. But still, though, make sure you guys, once again, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys later.